Hello everyone, I hope you are doing very well. Welcome to this class. So, I'm Brajesh Kumar and I welcome you all to this chapter that is some basic concepts of chemistry. This session is going to be very interesting. In this particular session, we are going to discuss stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculation. And apart from this, we will discuss some basic concentration terms like molarity, molality, mass percentage, volume percentage, mass by volume percentage, normality, limiting reagent as well as we will be discussing these topics. Before this particular topic or before we start with the class, I just want to give an advice to all of you. Be ready with your notebook and pen. If you want to note down any important point, you can note it down. As in every class, what I was doing, I was recalling the points of previous classes. Similarly, in this class, I am recalling the points of previous class. First of all, in this particular chapter, the chapter name is Some Basic Concepts of Chemistry. You know the usefulness of chapter, some basic concepts of chemistry. So in this particular chapter, I introduce to you what is chemistry, what are the applications of chemistry, what is the importance of chemistry, right? Then we have learned about the matter, nature of matter, states of matter, and classification of matter, properties of solids, liquids, and gases, and what are the characteristics of particles of matter. We have learned about the diffusion process, and we have learned about the some basic interconvergence of states of matter like melting, boiling, vaporization, evaporation, condensation, freezing, etc. Sublimation and deposition, you can also say this. Apart from this, we have covered law of chemical combination, laws of chemical combination. In laws of chemical combination, we have learned 5 basic laws. First law is law of conservation of mass. Second law is law of definite proportion by mass. Third law is law of multiple proportion. Fourth law is you can say like Gay-Lussac law of gaseous volume, and fifth law you can say Avogadro's law. After these laws of chemical combination, we have learned about the Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton's atomic theory. And after Dalton's atomic theory, we have learned some basic terms like percentage composition, mole concept, molar mass, empirical formula mass, molecular mass, etc. And also we have learned the relationship between empirical formula and molecular formula, and we have learned about the n, small n, right, which gives a relationship between empirical formula and molecular formula. And how can we calculate if percentage composition is given, how can we calculate the empirical formula, and how can we convert the empirical formula into molecular formula. We have learned these important topics in this particular chapter, that is some basic concepts of chemistry. So today we are going to discuss stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculation. This is also very important. In a balanced chemical equation, suppose I am writing any equation, you can see here. Suppose I am writing CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus H2O. CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus H2O. If you are checking this is balanced or not, you can see here this equation is balanced. If I will put 2 here, right, now this equation is completely balanced. CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O. Methane, here what is happening here? Combustion of methane, right? In the presence of oxygen, you can see it will produce carbon dioxide and water, and along with some heat energy. The point is here that this equation is completely balanced. If I will say like one molecule of CH4 is reacting with 2 molecules of O2, and it is producing 1 molecule of CO2 and 2 molecule of H2O. Or also we can say like 1 mole of CH4 reacting with 2 mole of O2, and it is producing 1 mole of CO2 and 2 mole of H2. In the terms of gram per mole, we can say carbon plus 4 hydrogen. So 16 gram per mole. It means 16 gram is reacting with oxygen 16 to the 32 plus 32. It should be 64 gram. Then 16 gram is reacting with 64 gram of oxygen and it is producing 44 gram of carbon dioxide and 36 gram of water. If you are adding these values, reactant side masses of reactants, and it comes out to be 80 gram. And if you are adding the total mass of the products, it comes out to be 80 gram. It means this equation is a balanced chemical equation because it is following the law of conservation of mass, and according to law of conservation of mass, matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. It means the total mass of the reactants must be equal to the total mass of the products. Total mass of the reactants and must be equal to the total mass of the products. This is the actually today's topic. Okay, this is the today's topic, stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculation. So stoichiometric coefficient is a number which is written in front of reactant side and product side in a balanced chemical equation, or in unbalanced chemical equation sometimes it is written a number. Okay, so the important point is here, you can see here the word stoichiometry is actually made up of two words. It's derived from two Greek words. The first word means stoichion, meaning element, and metron means measure. So we are measuring elements actually. So it deals with the calculation of masses, sometimes volumes also, of the reactants and products involved in a chemical reaction. For example, you can see the combustion of methane and you can see the balanced chemical equation as I written already. CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O, and all the reactants and products are in gaseous form. All of the reactants and products are in gaseous form. The important point is here, methane and dioxin are called reactants and carbon dioxide and water are called products. Methane is CH4, dioxin is O2, carbon dioxide is CO2 and water is H2O. The coefficient 2 for O2 and H2O are called stoichiometric coefficient. As the equation is CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O. So you can see the coefficient 2 which is placed in front of oxygen and water. You can see this is named as stoichiometric coefficient 2. Similarly, the coefficient for CH4 and CO2 is 1 in each case. They represent the number of molecules, you can say number of moles as well, which are taking participate in the reaction or formed in the reaction, right? Which are taking participate in the reaction, it means reactants, or which are formed in the reaction, it means products. So this stoichiometric coefficient is very important and it gives a quantitative relationship, okay, that how many reactants are reacting to produce how many products, and it is very important and it is easy to say as well as, okay. Suppose I am writing like Mg plus O2 gives MgO. This is an unbalanced chemical equation. If I want to balance this, I have to put 2 here and 2 here. So the 2 which is placed in front of Mg in the reactant side is a stoichiometric coefficient. It means you can say 2 molecules or 2 moles of Mg is reacting with 1 mole of O2 and it is producing 2 mole of MgO. That's a simple way to say. You can say this term in terms of mass as well, right? In terms of mass. So let's understand the next point. 1 mole of CH4, right, which is a gas, reacts with 2 moles of O2 to give 1 mole of CO2 and 2 mole of H2O. Repeating one more time, CH4 1 mole is reacting with 2 mole of O2 and it is producing 1 mole of CO2 plus 2 mole of H2O. That's a very interesting thing. 1 molecule of CH4 you can see reacting with 2 molecules of O2 and it is giving 1 molecule of CO2 and 2 molecules of H2O as well. In terms of volume, you know very well, you know Gay-Lussac law, you know Avogadro's law. So equal volume of all gases contains equal number of moles. Equal number of moles, right? If I am saying 22.7 liters, so 1 mole contains 22.7 liter. So 22.7 here comes out to be 45.4. You can say in terms of volume 22.7 liter volume reacting with 45.4 liter to gives 22.7 liter to gives 22.7 liter and 45.4 liter of H2. 45.4 liter of H2. I hope you are very much aware that how can we use this stoichiometric coefficient in terms of mole, molecules, mass and volume as well, right? Mass and volume as well. So this is about the stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculations. Okay, the next 16 gram in terms of mass, you can say 16 gram of CH4 reacting with how much? 2 into 32 gram, it means 64 gram of O2 to producing 44 gram of CO2 and 36 gram of H2O. 44 gram CO2 and 36 gram H2O. From these relationship, you can see and that the given data can be interconverted as follows. You can convert mass into moles, you can convert moles into masses, you can convert moles into number of molecules and number of molecules into moles. I hope this point is clear too. So you can convert mass into moles, moles into number of molecules, and also you can convert number of molecules into moles and moles into mass. So these things are interconvertible. Okay, so suppose you want to calculate number of moles, n represent number of moles. So n is nothing, that is given mass. You can write given mass by molar mass. Even you can convert, suppose n by Na. N is nothing, that is small n is number of moles again, and capital N is number of particles, number of atoms, or number of entities, you can say. And this is Avogadro number. Value is 6.022 into 10 raised to the power 23. This is the value of Avogadro. 6.022 into 10 raised to the power 23. This is named as Avogadro constant, or simply you can say Avogadro number. There is a relationship between mass, volume and density, that is mass by volume gives density. If mass is more, density will be more. If volume is more, density will be less. Okay, I hope you are getting a clear idea. Suppose I am saying like 1 mole of SO2 molecules. So how many SO2 molecules are present in 1 mole of SO2? So 6.022 into 10 raised to the power 23 SO2 molecules are there in 1 mole of SO2. 6.022 into 10 raised to the power 23 SO2 molecules are there. So this is about the stoichiometric coefficients. Let's understand the limiting reagent. What is this limiting reagent? As the name is suggesting, limiting reagent. So suppose a reaction is happening like CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus H2O. 2H2. I am writing a simple general reaction like A plus B gives C and D. A plus B gives C and D. Suppose A is reacting with B. And for suppose 20 gram A is reacting with 30 gram B. So for the reaction of 30 gram B, we need actually 20 gram A. And I have limited the amount of A. What? I am providing only 10 gram A. If I am providing 10 gram A, then it will react with B with a particular or sufficient amount, right? And then it will form products. But the remaining amount will be of B. Remaining amount will be of V. So V will be excess reactant or reagent, and A is finished up, so A will be limiting reagent. Why it is named as limiting reagent? Because it limits the yield of product. It limits the yield of product. If A is available more than 10 gram, then definitely product will be formed because B is available, right? Because B is present. But due to the you can say due to the absence of A, you can say because A is finished up, and due to the absence of A, B can't react with itself because no A reactant is available, so it will not form any product. It means due to the due to the absence of A, it yields the amount of, it limits the amount of products. It stops the amount, it stops the reaction. You can say it stops the reaction, and it it limits the amount of products. Okay, so you can see many a time you can see here, many a time reactions are carried out with the amounts of reactants that are different than the amounts as required by balanced chemical equation. As I written already in the above equation, CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O. If I am writing this balanced chemical equation and I am saying 16 gram of CH4 is requiring 64 gram of O2, and CO2 will be 44 gram formed and H2O will be 36 gram formed, right? So we are not discussing this amount, the amount of products, we are discussing the amount of reactants. If 16 gram is reacting with 64 gram CO2, only O2, then 1 gram will react with 64 by 16. That means 1 gram requires 4 gram of O2. And suppose I am giving only 10 gram of CH4. So 10 gram will require 64 by 16 multiply with 10. It comes out to be 40 gram. It means if I am giving you 10 gram CH4, so it required only 40 gram of what? Oxygen. But actually I provided to you 64 gram of oxygen. I have provided to you 64 gram of oxygen and I have provided 10 gram of CH4. Actually 64 gram required 16 gram of CH4, but I have provided 64 gram CO2, 64 gram of O2 oxygen, but only 10 gram of CH4. So which one is the limiting reagent? Which reactant can limit the amount of product? Which reactant can limit the yield of product? Definitely CH4, because when CH4 is reacted completely, so no amount of CH4 will be there. And if no amount of CH4 will be there, but the amount of oxygen will remain, so oxygen will be the excess reactant. Oxygen will be the excess reactant, because if I will add 2 gram, 1 gram of CH4, then sufficient amount of oxygen is available to react with the 2 gram of CH4 and it will produce products. That means due to the CH4, the amount of product is get limited. The amount of product is get limited due to the CH4, because the CH4, because no methane is available now, because whatever the amount I provided to you, that is 10 gram, is finished up now, and the reaction goes to completion, right? Reaction goes to completion after the what? After the what we can say, after the reaction of 10 gram of CH4 with sufficient amount of oxygen. My point is here, like due to the absence of CH4, because because the amount of CH4 has finished up now, and due to this reason the reaction stops and the product yield is limited. Okay, so this will act as a limiting reagent. It limiting the reaction. You can say limiting reagent or limiting reactant. Now you can understand here, in such reactions, one reactant is in more amount than the other reactant by a balanced chemical reaction, then the amount required. One reactant is in more amount than the amount required, or you can say one reactant is in less amount than the amount required. The reactant which is present in the least amount gets consumed after some time. Definitely, because it is present in the least amount and it will get consumed after some time, and after the further reaction does not takes place, and after that the further reaction does not takes place, whatever be the amount of other reactant is present, right? Whatever is the amount of other reactant will be present. The reactant which get consumed first is named as limiting reagent. The reactant which get consumed first is named as limiting reagent. It limits the amount of product form and is therefore called the limiting reagent. And it is called the limiting reagent. I hope you are very much aware about the limiting reagent now. Okay. So far we have covered stoichiometry calculations and limiting reagent. The next important point is about the limiting, apart from limiting reagent, is that we will be discussing the concentration of a solution or the amount of substance present in its given volume can be expressed in any of the following ways. Like you can say mass percent, you can say weight percent, W by W, M by M, you can say volume percent, V by V percent. You can say mass by volume percent. You can say mole fraction, molarity, normality. You can say normality. And I will tell you some equations as well. The interesting and important point regarding this mass percentage, weight percentage, mole fraction, molarity and molality. First of all, I want to give you an idea about the concentration. What is the concentration of a solution? Solution, you know very well, when two substances are dissolving into each other, out of these two substances, one is solute and another is solvent. They may be more than two as well, and based on that we have binary solution, ternary solution, quaternary solution and polymerase solution. You can say the important point is here there should be a solute and a solvent present. Solute which is getting dissolved into the another substance, and solvent which is dissolving the another substance. So solvent generally larger in amount and solute generally smaller in amount. The interesting and important part is here. I want to discuss first of all the term concentration, and I want to give you a difference between concentration and solubility. What is the difference between concentration and solubility? Concentration, suppose you have a glass of water. And you have some amount of sugar. Okay, in glass of water, let's suppose 100 ml of water is there, and at particular pressure and temperature you are dissolving some amount of sugar. Let's suppose first you dissolve 10 gram of sugar. First of all, I want to tell you the maximum capacity at particular temperature and pressure. The 100 ml can be dissolved maximum 45 gram of sugar. 100 ml water can dissolve maximum 45 gram of sugar. Now you have dissolved 10 gram of sugar. In another slot, again you have dissolved 10 gram of sugar. In another slot, again you have dissolved 10 gram of sugar. Then you have dissolved 5 gram of sugar. Then you again dissolve 5 gram of sugar. Then again you dissolve 10 gram of sugar. So 10, 10, 10, 30, 40, right? 5 gram of sugar. The interesting and important part that you are dissolving sugar 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And total 10 plus 10, 20 plus 10, 30 plus 5, 35 plus 5, 40 plus 5, 45. Total sugar you have dissolved in 6 slot will be 45 gram. And 100 ml maximum can dissolve 45 gram. If you want to dissolve more sugar, so you have to change the temperature, pressure, etc. other conditions. But at particular temperature and pressure, it cannot dissolve more than this 45 gram. The important and interesting point is here, there is a difference between concentration and solubility. Concentration is the amount of solute present in a solution. Amount of solute present in a solution, it means 10 gram is present in, that is the concentration, right? At this particular temperature, at this particular lot, 10 gram is present. At this 10 plus 10 total 20. At this total 30, like this. But solubility is the maximum amount of solute. It is the maximum amount of solute, right? Concentration can be any amount of solute present in solution is known as concentration at particular temperature and pressure. But solubility is the maximum amount of solute which is present in a particular volume of solution, or which is present in solution, you can say, at particular temperature and pressure. That is known as solubility. So solubility will be always maximum amount. So 45 gram at the 6th slot solubility is there. At 6th slot you can say solubility, but before 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 you can say only concentration term. You can say this is concentration. So my point is here, you are dissolving 10 gram in 100 ml. So will you get sweet taste? Definitely you can get. Okay. Another point is here, suppose you are dissolving 10 gram sugar in 2000 liter water. It means 2000 into 1000 milliliter. It means 2 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 milliliter water. Will you get sweet taste? I think no. But you are dissolving, you are making solutions. So actually at different like based on different amount states, we are making some solutions, and based on that we can express the concentration in terms of mass percentage, volume percentage, mass by volume, volume by volume, weight by weight, molarity, normality, molality, mole fraction, etc. in these following terms. And we are going to discuss these following terms very interestingly. Okay, so let's understand first of all mass percentage. So you can see here mass percentage is obtained by this following relationship. The word is saying mass by mass percentage. How can we calculate the mass by mass percentage? Mass of solute divided by mass of solution into 100. One thing you can say like this. Another thing I want to say, like suppose you have to calculate mass by mass percentage. So percentage can be of anything. It can be of solute for solute and can be for solvent. But generally we are discussing this concentration terms for solute. Concentration terms for solute. But I am giving a general formula. You can apply this formula for solute as well as solvent. So you have to write mass of a, suppose two component solution is there. Mass of a component for which you are asking the mass percentage, and divided by total mass of all components. Total mass of all components. This will be the mass by mass fraction. If you want to calculate percentage, so you have to multiply with 100. Okay. The important point is here. Suppose I am saying I am dissolving 5 gram sugar in 95 gram water. So water is solvent here because it is dissolving the sugar, and sugar is getting dissolved in water, so it is solute. And generally solute is smaller in amount, and generally like solvent is larger in amount. Larger in amount. So what will be the mass by mass percentage? If I'm asking for solute, so you can write like mass of one component which is solute. So I can write simply solute divided by total mass of all components. Only two components are there. One is this, another is this. So you can say they are making solution. So you can say mass of solution. Mass of solute divided by mass of solution, and I am asking percentage here. So you can multiply with 100. So mass of solute is 5 gram divided by mass of solution is 5 plus 95, which comes out to be 100 gram into 100. So you will get the answer 5%. What should be the right answer? 5%. So 5% is the concentration of this particular solution, having total mass is 100 gram. Having total mass is 100 gram. So you can see the mass percentage will be 5%. Similarly, if you want to calculate the mass by volume percentage, mass by volume percentage, you can easily calculate. Suppose I am saying 5 gram sugar I am dissolving in 100 gram of 100 ml of solution. 5 gram sugar if I am dissolving in 100 ml of solution. So that is very interesting. So what will be the percentage? 100 ml of the volume of solution is given, actually 100 ml. So mass by volume percentage formula will be mass of a component. It should be mass of a component divided by volume of all components. It means you can say volume of solution as well, and multiply with 100. Multiply with 100 for percentage. So by this way you can also calculate the mass by volume percentage. So this is a very simple technique. We will be discussing the another terms, right, like molarity, normality, molality, and volume by volume percentage, mole fraction in the upcoming class. So in today's class we have covered some important points. First of all, I want to recall all the points, then we will start the next class. Okay, so the important point is that we have covered today. First of all, we have covered stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is very important. As I told you already, you can take any reaction. Suppose you are taking like H2 plus O2 gives H2O. This is a very simple reaction, right? And you are saying like if you want to balance this, you have to put 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2. So it means you can say 2 molecules of H2 is reacting with 1 molecule of O2 to producing 2 molecules of H2. You can say 2 mole of H2 is reacting with 1 mole of O2 is producing 2 moles of H2O. In terms of mass, you can say H2 is 2 to the 4 gram of H2 is reacting with 16 to the 32 gram of oxygen, and it is producing 36 gram of water. In terms of volume, you can see like 22.7 multiply with 2, 22.7 multiply with 2, you will get 45.4. So 45.4 ml reacting with 22.7 ml and producing 45 point producing. Is this balanced? Yes. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. So 45.4 ml is reacting with 22.7 ml and it is producing 45.4 ml of water. It is producing 45.4 ml of water. So that is the way how can you conclude this point. I hope you are very much aware about the stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculations. I want to recall this point. You can see here in this today's class we have covered about this point like CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2. Apart from this, we have covered like coefficient 2. These are called stoichiometric coefficient, which are placed in front of reactants and products. Okay, and they represent the number of molecules, moles taking participate in the reaction. You can see, suppose I am saying for this reaction CH4 plus O2, in this reaction CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus H2O, and it should be 2H2O. So you can see 22.7 liter reacting with 45.4 liter, and it is giving 22.7 liter of CO2 and 45.4 liter of H2O. 45.4 liter of H2O. So in this way you can react this, you can give this reaction. I hope you are very much clear about the stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculation. In terms of mass, you can say, and we have learned about that we can convert mass into moles, moles into number of molecules into moles, and moles into mass, and mass by volume is equal to density. And apart from this, we have covered limiting reagent and the reactant which get consumed first. They are reactant which get consumed first and which is present in the least amount, and after this the reaction does not take place. Whatever the amount of other reactant is present, this is known as limiting reagent because it limits the yield of product. It limits the amount of product formed, and that's why this is called limiting reagent. And after limiting reagent, we have covered some important terms like mass by mass percentage and volume by volume percentage, and we have covered concentration and solubility. In the next class, we are going to discuss these concentration expressions. Okay, so this is all about this today's class. Thank you so much, everyone. We will meet soon in the next class with these interesting and new topics. What are these topics? We will be discussing first of all the recall like mass percentage, then mass by volume percentage, then volume by volume percentage, then molarity, normality, molality, mole fraction, etc. And based on these, we will be discussing 1 or 2 questions as well. Okay, so have a good day, take care, and do practice. Practice makes you perfect. Practice is very, very important. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much again.